You want to know the simplest sign that you're actually changing? You start having a different thought about the same thing. Let's talk about it. I'm Brittany. Hey, your manifesting mentor. I'm not a coach, I'm not a guru, but I'm a woman who walks the walk and who shares what works. So I was listening to a podcast recently, and they were talking about transformation. And one idea really stood out to me. They said one of the greatest indicators that you're actually changing is that you begin to have a different thought about the same person, about the same circumstance, the same challenge, the same thing that used to trigger you. And when I heard that, I immediately thought that that's exactly what growth has looked like in my own life. Because I think a lot of people expect transformation to look dramatic. They think one day they're gonna wake up and suddenly be a completely different person. But most of the time, that's not how it happens. It happens quietly. It happens when life presents you with the same situation and you notice that you no longer see it the same way. Maybe years ago, a delayed text message would have sent you into overthinking. But today, you just think, maybe they're busy. Maybe a challenge at work would have ruined your entire day. Now, you just think, I'll figure it out. Maybe a disagreement would have immediately made you defensive. But now, you're curious instead of reactive. The person didn't change. The circumstance didn't change. The environment didn't change. But you did. And that's why I love Dr. Joe Dispenza's work so much, y'all. Because he teaches that if you want to create a new life, you have to become a new personality. Not someday, not when the manifestation arrives, right now. And one of the first signs that a new personality is emerging is that your thoughts begin changing before your circumstances do. You're no longer thinking from the same emotional conditioning. You're no longer automatically reaching for the same story. You're interrupting the pattern. And Neville Goddard taught this too. He said an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Well, guess what? The opposite is also true. When you stop persisting in an old assumption, that old experience starts to lose its grip on you. And that's because you're no longer feeding it with the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same meaning that you used to give it. And I can honestly say that some of the greatest growth that I've experienced wasn't because my life became easier. It was because I started thinking differently about the things that used to consume me. Things that would have stressed me out, things that would have made me spiral, things that would have made me feel like a victim. And now, I still experience challenges. I still experience uncertainty. And I still experience difficult emotions. But guess what? I don't think about them the same way anymore. I don't experience them the same way. And that's the shift. That's the work. That is the transformation. The moment you start having a different thought about the same thing is the moment you stop being the same person. And that, my friend, might be one of the clearest signs that the work is actually working. If you want to understand the science behind all of this, I read Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza, chapter by chapter on my YouTube channel. The playlist is linked to my bio, and it features my personal reflections and live replays. And if you want to read along, you can click this link right here to purchase your copy of the book. I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is your reminder, and you got this.